Okay, to give you a basic idea on what we're gonna do, we try to set up some components that's gonna make our life easier when we have to deal with forms that support questions with one or multiple answers. Like the first one, what do you go for in between meals? I can choose one or several options, and it would make for a valid reply. Then you can have questions in the forms that support only one correct answer. How often do you eat sweets? Daily or weekly? Not that often. So you can see this type of answers are mutually exclusive. So I can only have one selected at a time. And then you have questions that simple yes or no or true or false answer is enough. Hello and welcome to Creative Instruct. In today's episode, we're gonna see how we can get better with prototyping and components because we talk about interactive components. If you follow with the channel already, I'm sure that you're familiar with the components. I covered variants, properties, how to create components and instantiate them. Feel free to check some of my previous videos. And now, talking about adding interaction to them, it will give you more reason to try and use those throughout the designs, because the things that we design are not static. Okay, the website or web application that you design will need to showcase different states as the user hovers or clicks some of the elements you present there. And when they do so, you need to provide visual feedback for them to understand that something is happening. When you properly create those, it's going to be easier to communicate your intentions to the development team or to your stakeholders. So more reason to dive in to what I'm about to show you. The demo is quite simple. We're gonna look on how we can create a couple of checkboxes, radio buttons, and a toggle button, things that you will see in most of the web forms out there. Now, do take the learnings and apply them to your own components when you need to prototype. You're gonna simplify your life by not having a lot of frames interconnected just to showcase some basic interactions, because those can be done at the component level itself. Well, with that being said, feel free to subscribe to the channel and give a thumbs up if you appreciate the things I'm showing you here, and let's get into the demo. We're gonna start with three basic colors. I have a static or the default color, the hover color, and a border color for my elements. And over here what I have is just a basic rectangle 24 by 24 with a border radius of 6 and a text that we'll make for the label. And those layers are here. On the left in my layers panel, I can simply select the rectangle and the checkbox, right click and choose, say, group selections or frame selection. I'll just make them into a group, give it a name, checkbox, and add auto layout to my group from the right. Now it's ready to be transformed into a component. Make sure you have 8 pixels between the rectangle and the label and hit the component button, and like that we have a basic component. Let's add a variant to this one by hitting again this icon at the top, and we need to show the hover state. I'm gonna double click this rectangle, and from the fill I'm gonna select the hover color, and we can already start to give them names here on the left side. So let's go with unchecked static and unchecked hover. And we can continue by adding 2 other states. So I'm gonna just select the second variant, hit the plus button, and this is gonna be checked hover. So let's create a hover effect, and for that I'm going to right click to bring in an icon, material design icon, or you can create the icon on your own. I basically need that check mark. Okay, so I'll hit plus to add it. Okay, it's somewhere here, and I'll make it 24 by 24 to match the exact size of my rectangle, and by clicking it I'm gonna drag it inside this variant. Okay, so I do have it here. And it makes sense to show up like that because I do have auto layout. Now, in order to overlay it on top of the rectangle, I'm gonna select the check mark, and right here, I'm gonna select absolute position, clicking once, okay? And that seemed to work fine. Let's select this third option, hit plus again down here, and we need to make it into the check static. Okay, this is gonna be the last one. Over here, I would try to find again that checkbox field and change the color of the field for the static. Now, having those variants ready, we just need to wire them up. So select the first one, go to prototype, and by clicking on this plus icon that shows on this bounding box, I'm gonna drag to the second option, and in the interaction detail as well, the trigger should be while hovering. Yeah, so it moves from the unchecked to the static to the unchecked hover while I'm hovering. Okay, and it should happen instantly. And while I'm here, I can select this one, click and drag, and connect it with the last one. So this should happen on click. They should move to the checked static. Okay, now let's go in reverse. If they're on the checked static and they hover, they should see this third variant. So this should happen while hovering. Then from here, if they click, they should go to the first variant. Now, in order to make it easier for you to see, let me expand this box and move those elements. And you can just snapshot the way it looks here. And we can also do a quick test. Just create a frame and try to instantiate by going to assets, clicking and dragging all of elements inside this frame. And by having the frame selected, I'm gonna hit play button. Top right is loading. Bear with me a couple of seconds. Okay, I have those elements and I can easily over click. And of course, over here, you will be able to give it a new name. Or then again, you can create that label as a property. So that's one option to create a radio button to just select all those groups to which I already applied the auto layout. So clicking and dragging, hovering them, I can create a component set. When I create that, look what happened. I have the radio button component with 3 variants. I should name those variants. First one is gonna be unselected static. The second one is gonna be unselected hover, and the third one is gonna be selected. And over here we just need the static option. And why is that? Because radio buttons function in a group. When a radio button is already selected, I cannot do anything else with it. So there's no sense to show a hover interaction on that specific one. The hover should happen though on the other radio buttons in that group that might make for a different option. What I'm saying is that radio buttons don't function as checkboxes. We need a radio button group. So let's just instantiate the first option here. So I'm gonna create a copy, moving back to design, and I do want a group. So let's create some copies of that one. And imagine that this is gonna be my group and it has 3 options. I'm gonna select all of them. And of course, I can create a component, and this component is gonna be radio buttons group. First variant is gonna be with the first option selected, then the second one with the second option selected, and the fourth one with the last option selected. In order to do that, okay, I'm gonna select the variant inside that group. So having the first one here, and I'm gonna change it to selected, and I'm gonna move to the other group and choose the second variant, and over here on the right I'm gonna choose selected, static, and then, well, over here I should have the last one. So selected. So imagine that this is gonna happen. Yeah, the form the user has to fill will start with an initial state, and then from there they can select either a first, second, or third option label. So if they would, let's go to prototype, okay? If they would click on this one, so I'm double clicking to access that exact option and click, they can navigate to this group. If they click on this one, they navigate to this group, and this one to the third group. All fine and good, but what happens if they click the first option? So they will get here, but they decide to move to the second option. So from here they should have the option to go to the second group, and from here to the third group. Now same thing for the others. So let's connect this one with the first and this one with the third, and well, this one is gonna be connected with the first and the second one. And we can do a quick test, and I do recommend you try that. So let's create a basic instance, and of course you can change the name of the labels over there. Radio buttons make sense in the group. So let's say I enter the second option, I'm moving to the first one, and so on. Okay, last example would be with toggle switch button. So I'm gonna select all of them and create a component set. I can give it a name, so let's name it toggle button. Okay, and from the prototype, let's connect the first one to the second one and say that this is gonna happen on hovering, and the second one with the fourth one, this is gonna happen on click. Okay, then the fourth one, if they're already in this state and they hover, they should, while hovering, they should go to third state, and here, well, you guessed it, on click they will go back to the default, just like that. So let's give it a try. I'm gonna instantiate a toggle button. This one seems to work fine. Again, having these kind of elements ready should make your life easier. And it seems I made a mistake over here. I should have also connected the radio buttons. So let's see how this is gonna happen. I'm gonna hover and I will go here while hovering, and this one, let's see what's gonna happen. I'm gonna click and go here. So interaction, see the interaction, just click the arrow to bring back the panel, happens on click. Okay, let's see if it works, because I didn't notice the hover effect on the radio buttons, and now they do work fine. So if you run into some sort of error, the component doesn't behave as you expect, just go and debug and look again at the states, at the variants, at the names, and how the interaction happens in a step-by-step logical way. That's it. Now you understand the use case, the idea behind of interactive components. I hope you're gonna use them throughout your design, and feel free to drop me a question or comment down below if you feel the need. If not, well, let me know what you want to see next in terms of Figma, and do subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna see you in the next episode.